Today's topic is disease prevention and control and disinfection. Learning objectives for disease prevention and control include control of reservoir, interrupting route of transmission, and protecting the susceptible host. Under the heading of disinfectant, we will go through the terminology and the different types of disinfectant, and finally, the recommended disinfection procedures. Must be familiar with the chain of infection. For a disease transmission, existence of reservoir or any source of infection is necessary. It can be a human being, can be an animal, or a non-living thing. Communicable disease are transmitted in many different ways from reservoir to host, and different modes of transmission are involved in this process. Infectious agent enter the host, enter the susceptible host to produce the disease. Every disease has certain weak points which may be attacked. The basic approach in controlling the disease is to identify these weak points. And after identifying these weak points, we can break the weakest link in the chain of transmission. For example, we can control the reservoir or the source of infection. We can interrupt the route of transmission, or we can protect the susceptible host. It means people who are at risk, we can protect them. Disease control involve all the measures designed to prevent or reduce the incidence, prevalence, and consequences of the disease. It may be necessary to institute more than one method of control simultaneously. Some other things are very important. Community participation is required, political support must be there, and most important, we cannot control or prevent disease without intersectoral coordination. Another important thing is epidemiological knowledge about the disease. As you know already, reservoir can be human, animal, or a non-living thing. The first link to be addressed in the chain of infection is source or reservoir. And we can control a reservoir by different methods, but all measures to control the reservoir are focused to reduce the quantity of infective agent for dissemination. These measures include early diagnosis and treatment, notification of the disease, epidemiological investigations, isolation of the patient, and quarantine to interrupt the transmission. We will go through these points one by one. Diagnosis depends upon symptoms, signs, and lab investigation. Early diagnosis is required for prevention and control of disease, and broadly, and for the following points too. For example, for the treatment of patient, and for epidemiological investigation, and for descriptive epidemiology to study the time, place, and person distribution, and for the institution of prevention and control measures as early as possible. Another important step is notification of the disease. Once the infectious disease has been detected, it should be notified to local health authority. And this is the responsibility of local authority to put into operation control measures, which may include the provision of medical care to the patient, maybe in the hospital, maybe in the clinic. Notification of the infectious disease is often made by healthcare providers or by the head of the institution or the hospital, by the head of the family, or maybe by the laboratory personnel. Even a layman can notify the disease. And these diseases are notified to the local health authorities. Local health authorities notified to state health department, and some diseases are notified to the Center for Disease Communicable Disease Control. Certain diseases are notified by the National Health Authority to World Health Organization. These diseases include cholera, plague, and yellow fever, and some diseases which are under surveillance by WHO, including louse-borne typhus, relapsing fever, paralytic polio, malaria, viral influenza type A, SARS, and smallpox. Epidemiological investigation of the disease will be covered in a separate lecture. Briefly, it covers the identification of the source of infection and the factor which influence its spread in the community. Isolation is the oldest communicable disease measure. It played an important role in the control of diseases like plague or cholera. It is defined as the separation of infected person or animal from those who are susceptible or who may spread the disease to the others. And it is done for the period of communicability. The main purpose of isolation is to protect the community. There are different types of isolation, for example, standard isolation, strict isolation, etc. And isolation in some diseases may be achieved by ring immunization. Ring immunization means encircling the infected person with those who are immune. Today, isolation is recommended only when the risk of transmission of infection is exceptionally high. The term quarantine is defined as the limitation of freedom of movement of such well person or domestic animal who are exposed to communicable disease, and it is done for a period of time not longer than the longest usual incubation period of the disease. And it is done in such a manner as to prevent effective contact with those who are not exposed. It may be applied to a ship or an aircraft or a train or a road vehicle or other mean of transport such as containers. And it is done to prevent the spread of disease from a reservoir to susceptible host. Here I share the difference between the isolation and quarantine. Isolation is done to protect those who are not diseased, and the infected person is kept in isolation for the period of communicability of the disease. There are different recommended isolation period for different diseases. For example, isolation period of chickenpox is usually for 6 days after the onset of the rash. Nowadays, isolation is recommended only when the risk of transmission of infection is exceptionally high. Quarantine is done to limit freedom of well person, and it is still the longest incubation period of the disease. Quarantine is done for cholera, for plague, for yellow fever. Nowadays, in mostly diseases, quarantine is replaced by the active surveillance. But I share here the example of COVID 19. When the person is positive for COVID 19, he or she is isolated from the other family members, and if the symptoms are not severe, he or she must stay away from the people at home, or he may be isolated in the hospital. When any person had contact with someone who is tested positive, um, he should stay home for 14 days, even if he or she doesn't feel sick. In case of human reservoir, infective organisms are shed through portal of exit and they are transmitted through a vehicle or through a vector like mosquito. They enter the susceptible host through the portal of entry. Portal of entry may be nose, maybe eye, maybe mouth, and in susceptible hosts they multiply and may cause the disease, or the susceptible host may become a carrier of that infective organism. Interruption of transmission means preventing the infective agent from a patient or carrier from entering the body of susceptible person. It is a major aspect of communicable disease control, and we can break the chain of transmission by changing any component of man's environment to prevent the infective agent from entering the body of susceptible host. For example, water can be a medium for transmission of many diseases. As you know, foodborne diseases are very prevalent in our area. So, if we treat water, it will eliminate diseases such as typhoid, dysentery, cholera, hepatitis A. Vectors such as mosquito can transmit diseases like malaria. Control measures should be directed to control the breeding places, and vector control also include destruction of stray dogs, control of cattle, pets and other animals. Some other important practices include personal hygiene and proper handling of secretion and excretions of patient. Clean practices such as hand washing, adequate cooking, prompt refrigeration of prepared food must be adopted. We can protect the susceptible host by giving active immunization, by vaccination, and we can give passive immunization by immunoglobulins, and sometimes we give both passive and active immunization together. Active immunization is done by vaccination, and there are many vaccine preventable diseases. The example is polio vaccination, and passive immunization is done when exposure to infection has just occurred or is imminent within the next few days. There are different types of passive immunization which include normal human immunoglobulin, specific human immunoglobulin, anti-sera or antitoxin. Sometimes we give combined passive and active immunization. In some diseases like tetanus, diphtheria, rabies, and hepatitis B, passive immunization is given in conjunction to the inactivated vaccines. For example, if mother is hepatitis B positive, to protect newborn baby, we give hepatitis B vaccine and hepatitis B immunoglobulin simultaneously. We can protect the susceptible host by chemoprophylaxis. Chemoprophylaxis is the administration of medicine for the purpose of preventing disease or infection. There are two types of chemoprophylaxis: causal prophylaxis and clinical prophylaxis. By causal prophylaxis, we mean complete prevention of infection by early elimination of causal agent. By clinical prophylaxis, we mean prevention of clinical symptoms. It does not necessarily mean elimination of infection. The example of chemoprophylaxis is prevention of malaria by giving chloroquine prophylactically. To protect susceptible hosts, certain non-specific measures are also necessary. For example, better housing, safe water supply, better sanitation, proper nutrition, health education, and some legislative measures. Surveillance must follow control measures. Requires most of the microorganisms, but not necessarily all microbial forms. For example, it may kill the bacteria, but it may not kill the bacterial spores. There are two forms of disinfection: thermal disinfection or chemical disinfection. Mm, It is less lethal than the sterilization because it cannot kill some of the bacterial spores. Disinfectant is the chemical agent that destroys the disease causing pathogen or other harmful microorganisms, but it may not kill the bacterial spores. It refers to the substance which are applied to inanimate object. Sterilization is a process which is used to render the product free of all forms of viable microorganisms, including bacterial spores. Bacterial spores are killed by the process of sterilization. Sterilizer is an apparatus which is used to sterilize medical devices, medical equipments, or supplies such as gloves, such as linen, by direct exposure to the sterilizing agent. And by the term sterile, we mean a state of being free from all microorganisms. Term antiseptic, we mean substance that prevents or arrests the growth of microorganisms by inhibiting the activity of microorganisms or by destroying them. And the term asepsis means prevention of contact with microorganisms. Sanitizer is an agent that reduces the number of bacterial contaminants to safe level as judged by public health requirement. Hospital disinfectants are the substances which are registered for the use in hospitals, clinic, dental offices, or any other medical related facility, and they are effective against Salmonella, Staph aureus, and Pseudomonas. As the name indicates, germicide is a substance that destroys microorganisms, especially pathogenic organisms. Detergent are the substances which are surface cleaning agent that makes no antimicrobial claims, but they comprise a hydrophilic component and a lipophilic component. They act by lowering the surface tension. The example of detergent is soap. In current situation of COVID, uh, soaps are the agent which are required to remove the lipid envelope of the virus so that all the viruses are deactivated. Cleaning is the process which remove adherent visible soil, protein substances, microorganisms and other debris from all the surfaces, crevices, serrations, joints, lumen of the instruments, devices and equipment. And for this purpose, we use detergent in water or enzyme cleaner in water. Deodorant is a substance which suppresses or neutralizes bad odors. For example, lime or bleaching powder. An ideal disinfectant must have these properties. It should be broad spectrum, means that it is effective against a wide range of microorganisms. It should be fast acting. It should not be affected by the environmental factors. It should be non toxic. It should have the surface compatibility and should have the residual effect on the treated surfaces. Ideal disinfectant is easy to use with clear label direction. An ideal disinfectant is odorless, economical, and it should be soluble in water. It should be stable in the concentrate. It should act as a cleaner, and it should be environmentally friendly. There are three types of disinfection. The first type is known as pre-current or prophylactic disinfection. As the name indicates, it is the disinfection which is done prophylactically. The example of this type of disinfection are disinfection of water by the use of chlorine, pasteurization of milk, and hand washing. We do disinfect water by the use of chlorine and we pasteurize the milk to kill the microorganisms, and to get rid of microorganisms we frequently wash hands. The second type is concurrent disinfection. As soon as possible, After the discharge of infective material from the body of an infected person or after soiling the article, we do this type of disinfection. In other words, the disease agent is destroyed as soon as possible when it is released from the body, and before the spread of agent, we disinfect the microorganism. We disinfect vomitus, contaminated linen, clothes, hand and dressings of patient. And the third type is terminal disinfection. It is the application of disinfection when the patient has been removed by the death or to a hospital or has ceased to be a source of infection. Agents for disinfection are classified as natural, physical, and chemical. Natural agents include sunlight and air. Physical agents are further divided into different types. The first type is burning. Burning or incineration is an excellent method of disinfection, and we do have the hospital incinerator where the process of burning is completed. And the other method is hot air. Hot air, 160 to 180 degrees C, is used for 1 hour, and it is useful for sterilizing the article such as glassware, such as syringes, swabs, dressings, oils, Vaseline, or sharp instruments. Another method is boiling. When we boil instruments for 5 to 10 minutes, all bacteria are killed usually, but not the spores or the viruses. Autoclaving and radiation. Autoclaves generate steam under pressure. Steam attains a high temperature under pressure and it has a great power of penetration. It is widely used in hospital and laboratory practices. It destroys all forms of life, including bacterial spores. Usually, we use temperature of 122 degrees C under 15 pounds per square inch. And it is used for the sterilization of linen, dressings, gloves, syringes, certain instruments, and culture media. In radiation, we use ionizing radiation, and ionizing radiation has great penetrating powers with little or no heating effect. However, it is a costly method. It is used for the sterilization of bandages, dressings, catgut, and surgical instruments. This is the list of chemical agents which are used for disinfection. I will discuss these agents one by one briefly. The first group include phenol and related compound. The members of this group are pure phenol, crude phenol, cresol, which is known as all-purpose general disinfectant, and it is excellent coal tar disinfectant. Cresol emulsions, chlorhexidine. Chlorhexidine is one of the most useful skin antiseptics. Hexachlorophene and Dettol. Dettol in 5% concentration is suitable for disinfection of instrument and plastic equipment, and the required contact time is 15 minutes. The second important group is quaternary ammonia compound. The important member is Savlon, which is used to disinfect clinical thermometers. The third group is halogen and their compound. Important members include chlorine, bleaching powder, iodine, iodophores. Chlorine is used as potent bactericidal, fungicidal, virucidal, tuberculocidal agent. Bleaching powder is used to disinfect well. Iodine is used as an antiseptic on skin. Iodophore, also known as povidone iodine, disinfects skin and medical equipment. Of this group is ethyl and isopropyl alcohol. Alcohols are used for skin disinfection and hand washing. 70% alcohol is lethal in a period of seconds to all type of non-sporing bacteria. The other member is formaldehyde. Formalin or formaldehyde gas are used as a disinfectant. Formaldehyde gas is the most commonly used agent for disinfection of rooms. Oxidizing agents include potassium permanganate and hydrogen peroxide. Potassium permanganate is used to disinfect fruits and vegetables, and hydrogen peroxide is used as an antiseptic or it is used for cleaning wounds and discharging ulcers. Heavy metals are also used. For example, silver is used for the prophylaxis of conjunctivitis in newborn. Lime is another important member of group, and it is used as 10 to 20% aqueous suspension. It is used to disinfect feces and urine. Ethylene oxide is an important member of group of chemical agents. It is used to sterilize fabrics, plastic equipments, cardiac catheters, and books. The important member is pasteurization, which destroys microorganisms but not the spores. In pasteurization, temperature is kept at 70 degrees centigrade for 30 minutes. The next member is microwave. Microwave is used to disinfect soft contact lenses, dental instruments, dentures, milk, and urinary catheters. Flushing and washer disinfectors are used to disinfect bedpans, urinals, and wash bowls to surgical instruments and anesthesia tubes. Ultraviolet radiation is used to disinfect drinking water, air, implants, and contact lenses. Ozone has been used for years as a drinking water disinfectant. Certain factors affect the efficacy of sterilization. For example, improper cleaning will decrease sterilization efficacy. Spores forming organisms are most resistant to sterilization. If a biofilm or thin film is present on the surface, it will reduce the efficacy of sterilization, and increasing lumen length or decreasing lumen diameter both impair sterilization process. Sterilizing agent must come in contact with microorganisms, so if the flow is restricted, it will impair the process of sterilization. Sterilization depends upon what material are used in construction of device or device design, may affect the compatibility. So these are the factors which affect the efficacy of sterilization. It is recommended that feces and urine should be collected in impervious container and disinfected by adding an equal volume of one of these disinfectants. These disinfectants include bleaching powder, crude phenol, cresol, or formalin. The sputum must be collected in gauze or paper handkerchief, and the recommended disinfection procedures include burning, or if the amount is more, the sputum must be disinfected by boiling or autoclaving for 20 minutes. For room disinfection, thorough cleaning, airing, and exposure to direct sunlight is necessary. Chlorine solution or formaldehyde solution may be used to disinfect rooms, and rarely fumigation by formaldehyde is required. This is your assignment. My lecture ends here. Any questions from your side? Your attendance will be marked on submission of assignment. Thank you so much.